Ever since the theft of wires on our project and through the calls and comments I've gotten since I dropped the video, if you have not seen that video, I've attached it here for you to watch. I've been, thinking about site thefts a lot, how to prevent them, how to deal with them when they happen, etc. Um, so I decided to do this follow-up video to share some of my thoughts. Stay
This is
tuned.
Eric, and welcome to Ghana Bakweku YouTube channel, where we document the building process for our dream home in Ghana, West Africa. We hope that you find the content we share helpful, encouraging, and hopefully educating as well.
Welcome back to the channel, family. I hope you're all keeping safe, building those projects despite a difficult financial times we're in. If you're a regular here and subscribed, we appreciate you. If you're a regular watcher and haven't hit the subscribe button, please consider doing that now. Thank you. Let's get into the video. As mentioned in the intro, I've gotten a lot of feedback since I dropped that electrical wire loss video. And I appreciate the fact that it garnered the interest that it has garnered. To the extent that it has gotten some people asking, what can I do to not be another victim of cable wire theft? I think the video has served its purpose, right? We share these, painful moments. They're painful because no one likes losing money. So hopefully, someone else coming behind us can, mitigate it, prevent it as much as possible. Um, Prevention, that's a different story, but at least minimize it, right? Minimize it. That is one thing that we hope other people, people will take from the video that we put out. It's not, to poke fun at ourselves, but more, it's more, to show how vulnerable you can get in situations like this, and hopefully to use it to motivate someone else, right? Um, these things happen. They happen a lot, right? A lot more than people will want you to think they do. Um, there are a few things that I will say here right off the top. Thefts on site are inevitable. They happen every day. They happen every day. Everyone building will experience it to some extent. It might not be cable wires like we lost. It might be a bag of cement. It might be some pieces of iron rods. It might be some nails. It might be workman tools. It might be, change that they never returned. Some of these things happen, right? And like I said earlier, it happens in the West. And, you know, it's funny because while we were, dealing with ours, I was talking to the owner of this, the neighborhood um, garage that I take our cars to. And just as we are talking about it, one of the customers walked in, and they heard us talking about cable wires, and he was like, "Oh, did you heard that story too?" And I was like, "What story?" And he was like, "The new development down the street. They finished building the showroom, right? The show unit, right? Normally when they build buildings here, right, they have one for showcasing. They do the same thing in Ghana as well, right? The model unit, if you can call it that. And then they had the place wired, so when people come in, they can see how it'll be, and then furnished, so they can see, experience how it'll be to live in there, which means that they have cable wires and all of that. Now, this particular unit had been finished, furnished, right? But because there are units going to be, continuing down the line, right? Because there are multiple buildings in a row, they had some wiring done that was going to be an extension that gets connected to the other buildings that are going to be coming up. Guess what? Those wires got cut. And why did they cut them? For the same reason why the Ghanaian cable wire thief cuts it: copper. As you can see in this clipping that I pulled, we live in the Dallas area, and this is a clipping local to us. Look at the date, last year, right? Last year. I didn't make this up. So these things happen, right? You know, um, If anyone tells you that they've managed to get theft on their site down to zero, the person is either lying to you, or maybe they have angels flying down from heaven to do the work for them daily. Theft happens on construction sites. No one is immune to it. The best you can do is minimize it, right? And it really, in Ghana, the bigger issue is this, right? Wage earnings are not adequate. So what do everyone try to do? Skim a little bit off the top. It's a known fact. Even the trotro mate doesn't want to give you your change unless you press him for it. Why? Because he needs that little extra. It's change, right? Someone will think, oh, it's just 20 pesos here and there, but that 20 pesos to him means a lot. So he'll do the best he can to not give it to you unless you call him out on it. Same thing happens on construction sites. Someone might be sent to go buy something, change, keeps it in the pocket. That's also theft, right? It might not be as expensive as getting, your cable wires cut, but they add up. That's still theft, right? They happen all the time, right? But then, like I'll say, I'll rather lose a few thousand cities, right, to petty thefts over the period of, building my project than paying someone double what the entire project will cost, right? For them to do the work for me that I can figure out a way to do, finding people who would might cheat but will cheat me on the lesser grade, right? I'd rather deal with petty theft than deal with someone who's stealing from me at pen point. Writing in a contract that he knows is not the accurate contract, right? Hoping that he can get one over on me, that I would rather deal with someone who steals my wire, right? Because it was an opportunity thing for him than someone who's being deliberate about their theft, right? There are some lessons I've learned, through the building process so far, and one of the things I'll say is, look, count yourself lucky if you have lost less than 1,000 Ghana cedis to theft on your project, right? And you are near completion, even if it's just raising the structure. If you have lost less than 1,000 cedis, you are probably 1 in 1 million%. Yes, someone will probably say there are no 1 million houses being built in Ghana right now. I I don't know the number, but I'm just saying that to stress a point. This happens a lot. You're gonna lose some. Don't think that just because you lost a little or money here and there means that someone is pulling one on you, right? Some people lose more than 1,000. Some people, you know, like I said earlier, some people end up paying, you know, 1.5 times what the project would cost or would have cost them if they managed to find some trustworthy, foreman and some trustworthy group of artisans to do the work for them instead of giving money to someone to do the work for you, right? Because what are they going to do? They're in it for business, right? So it's for profit. So of course they're going to put their profit on it, right? So there you are already losing on the front end. Yes, there comes conveniences. You don't have to worry about some things. You don't have to worry about firing people who steal, but they will do it. And guess what? When those thefts happen, they won't tell you. So you think your site, no theft happened. It happened. They took care of it because you've already paid it, right? You've paid more than enough to cover for the theft, right? Another point is a second point here, right? A friend of mine who is also building in Ghana once told me this. I hire everyone who works on my site for a day. If you cross the line, you're gone, right? You know how most people say, "Oh, we hire people for a stage, right? We hire this crew for this stage of the project. We hire this crew for that stage of the project." As good as it would be good to do because there's continuity on the project, I like what my friend said. If you cross the line, you are gone, right? He said he doesn't have an obligation to keep you hired if he doesn't think you're doing the right thing. These things we're building are expensive stuff. right? They're supposed to last a lifetime, right? Sometimes two lifetimes if you do it well, right? Two generations or more, right? So if you have a situation where someone is coming on a job and they're treating you like the project is their own, embrace them, right? If you have an artisan or a foreman who like bleeds when you bleed, like when they see something, that your blood will boil over, they do the same thing in your absence. Keep those people, right? Keep those people. But then there are some other people who will take advantage of you being, treating them as, family, and they'll take you for a ride. It happens all the time, right? Um, my final advice, something that I've learned along the way because it's happened to me, is never give work to a contractor who is also building this project at the same time as you. Never give your work to a contractor who is building his own project at the same time as you are. I'm not necessarily saying they'll steal from your project to complete their work, even though some do. That's not the point. My bigger point here is this: no one loves you more than they love themselves. You might be paying them to build your project for you, but if they are also building at the same time as you, their project is priority number one over yours. Fact, right? So these are some things that I've learned. If there are some other tips that you've learned that you want to share, drop them in the comments. Let's, put our stuff out here, not to show, that we are vulnerable and we're being taken advantage of, right? At the end of the day, we're getting these projects done, right? We're getting them built, right? And hopefully the theft is minimal, right? That's really the big hope here. I'm hoping that some people never experience loss on their side. That is my prayer. But we know for a fact that it almost is impossible. Why? Because in the West, before a project starts, right, the electricity companies will give you provisional wiring, right? They'll give you a provisional meter so you can pull light onto site, put CCTV cameras on site, even though no one is there, right? Leave like put your equipment there, lock it up. They see the cameras as a deterrent. Most people will not come near it, right? You have the site is already lit because you have light on site. You have temporary floodlights mounted on on wooden stakes. We have them in our neighborhood here on every community on every project that comes up. If ECG could give builders temporary um, meters, right, construction meters, like happens in the West, especially for people who are already close to the grid, most of the thefts that we have will not occur. Why? Because I will not be, in my case, I will not be forced to try to bring wiring onto site to try to to secure the area better than it already is. I wouldn't have had to spend that money, but I spent the money for what I did, right? And and I said it in the previous video. I'm lucky I didn't lose as much as our sister Tilly did, right? Because all we're trying to do was do a provisional wiring for the upstairs, thinking it was, it'll take someone a while to get upstairs, right? With people in the house, right? To steal the wires that we're putting in. And hopefully that by the time we're done, the meter will be ready and we'll just get it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. That was our loss, right? Um, anyway, I don't want to make this video lengthy, but you know, like I said, you know, the these are things that are inevitable when it comes to construction. People will steal. It happens every day, right? If you lined up, 100 people who were doing construction and they were being honest with you, every single one of them has lost something at some point on the site, right? Magnitudes might differ, but it's still theft. Right. So here, I'll end this here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being part of this channel. Please, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. right? Hit the notification bells, you know, so you'll be one of the first to, you know, get notified when our videos get dropped. We have some more videos coming up. Um, Ellie, your video is coming up. I'm still working on it. I have to talk to my cousin, the lawyer, about that, so I'm not, you know, crossing any lines. So keep watching. That video will come. Thank you.